do, do, do. Do, 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 do. Gotta move my clipboard. Might be able to see it. Might want to see it. Do, 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 do. Good evening, interpeers. How are you doing? I hope you are doing well. Rackart. Good evening, Rackart. How are you doing, Rackart? Hope you are doing well. Hello, interpeers. Rackart. Well, interesting question. Where is Reichardt today? Does Reichardt know where Reichardt is? Kalilisa. Good evening, Kalilisa. But I'm here today. Kathleen, good evening. Welcome, everyone. I hope you all had a pleasant weekend. Glad you could join us tonight for trivia. All of the questions tonight are on Gerald Armand Gallego and his wife. If you're not familiar with who they are, Colorado. Colorado. Reichardt is in Colorado. My sister lives just outside of Denver. She likes it there. She lives in the mountains, though. Seclusion, away from everybody. She got her own land. I don't know if she ever plans on doing anything with it. It's just wild open. It used to be a farm before she bought it, but now all her kids and their significant others and their children, her grandchildren, live there. Her own little compound, I guess. Ivory Lady. We got Purple. Good evening, Purple and Ivory Lady. My home state. I love it here. It's definitely beautiful. If you enjoy the outdoors, Colorado is a great place to be. Welcome to everyone who is just joining us. Give it another minute and 30 seconds approximately before we get this going. Again, all the trivia questions tonight are on Gerald Armand Gallego and his wife. But we'll get into it. I'll give you a little bit of description in case you're not familiar with who he is. Tell you who he is, a little description of him before we jump into the trivia. Gallego. 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 I don't know. I could put it into Google pronunciation, and I'm pretty sure that it's one of the two, right? So I just say that we're both right. I'm moving to Wichita next week. It's not Colorado. Wichita, and good evening, Sal. Well, I hope that the move to Wichita goes well. Let's go ahead and jump into tonight's trivia. This is the 377th episode of Trivia Night. This trivia night strictly adheres to factual evidence and verified data from the FBI, Department of Justice, and Scotland Yard whenever needed, along with court records and transcripts from trials. It does not include conspiracy theories, speculation, or unverified claims about what may have happened. If you are seeking sensationalism or content related to similar theories or lies spread by those who can't be bothered to do the research on the topic, this event and topic may not be the right fit for you. This program documents actual crimes by offenses by criminals. Some of the content covered here may not be suitable for all audiences. All the research tonight comes from the Associated Press News Service and Internet Archives, the FBI, Fox 13, and NBC Channel 10, along with independent research that I did by reaching out to several different authors on the actual subject matter and the information and research that they have done on this individual and his wife. But viewer discretion is strongly advised. Good evening, Joe Talchi. If you're not already a subscriber, I would hope that you would consider subscribing to tonight's channel. You can look down below this actual screen. You scroll down, if it's white and it says subscribe, that means you are not subscribed to this channel. Please consider subscribing. A shout out for correction goes out to Tom Baker from last week's trivia night. He was absolutely correct in two of the images from Sunday's trivia night, number 376, were not of Richard Cottingham. They were of Larry Eiler, also known as the Interstate Killer. I've since contacted Getty Images and requested a refund after verifying this mistake. Both of the photos that were in the file of Richard Cottingham of Eiler were of both of their arrests from 1976. So both of them, and they looked, 1976, they looked very much alike, but they were of the wrong image. And Tom Baker pointed that out. Thank you for your sharp attention to detail and bringing this to my attention, Tom Baker. Thank you very much. Gerald Gallego and Charlene Adele Gallego, also known as the sex slave killers, were American serial killers who abducted, raped, and tortured and murdered at least 10 people between 1970 and 1980. The couple abducted their victims from areas near Interstate 80 freeway running through California and Nevada, with the sole exception of one victim who was killed in Oregon. They garnered their nickname because, according to prosecutors, they had preyed upon young women in search for the ideal sex slave. Did you know? Typically, Charlene would lure victims to the couple's vehicle with an offering of selling drugs or earning money posing for pictures or asking to help distribute flyers. Gerald would then restrain, abduct, and rape them, while Charlene would encourage Gerald in coaching him in what she wanted to see him do before killing them with variety of methods. Without any further delay, let's ready to rumble on some trivia. Question number one is now on your screen. What was Gerald Gallego's infamous nickname given to him by the mainstream media? Was it A, the Toolbox Killer, B, the Love Sex Slave Killer, or C, the Sex Slave Killer, or D, the Truck Stop Killer? Question number one of 20. What was Gerald Gallego's infamous nickname given to him by mainstream media? He looks like Billy Joel. I guess a little. I think Billy Joel probably take offense to that, though. The Piano Man himself. Question number one. record. Drum roll, please. Question number 1. The correct answer is C as in cat, the sex slave killer. That is the nickname that they were given by mainstream media. The sex slave killer. Question number 2. Who was Harold's partner in all of his crimes but 3? Was it A, Lori Vallow Daybell, B, Charlene Williams, C, Carla Holcomb, or D, Elaine Wuornos? Question number 2 of 20. Who was Harold's partner in all of his crimes but 3? The 3 crimes that he did not have this partner with him were 1, an abduction, rape, and murder, all considered one crime, not 3 separate crimes, and then an attempted abduction, and the third was an actual robbery. Those are the 3 separate crimes that were committed by him that he did not have his partner with him. Yes, the toolbox killer is someone else, Joe Tall Chief. Barry freaking Morphew Mountain Lion. Who was Harold's partner in all of his crimes but 3? Rackard going, A, of course. Of course it was Lori Vallow Daybell. Of course it was. The answer to question number 2 is B as in boy. Charlene Williams. That is Gerald's wife's maiden name. Charlene Williams. Williams was her last name before they got married. And that is a picture of the 2 of them. It's the only picture you'll see tonight of them. It's used for all 20 questions because, unfortunately, most of the images of Gerald and Charlene are locked up behind paywalls like Getty Images. And I didn't have the funds this week to pay Getty Images to use, stuff that used to be in the public domain that is now locked up behind a paywall. So this photo is actually in the free domain. So this is the photo we get for all 20 questions tonight. Question number 3. In what decade did Gerald Gallego commit all his murders and rapes but 1? Was it A, 1940s, 1950s, B, 1960s after a 10-year resting period, C, 1970s, 1980s, or D, 1990s through 2000s? Question number 3 of 20. In what decade did Gerald Gallego commit all of his murders and rapes but 1? They are despicable. And good evening, Tom Baker. Welcome to tonight's trivia. You always get them mixed up with Jerry Lee Lewis and Billy Joel. Or you get those 2 mixed up, Billy Joel and Jerry Lee Lewis. Jerry Lee Lewis, just remember, Lewis, Great Balls of Fire. Piano Man, the other. One was signed to Sun Records, along with Elvis Presley, Carl Perkins. Jerry Lee Lewis was on Sun Records. At one point, Sun Records had 9 of the top 13, musical artists, men and women, at one time. Yesterday, I got booted off Movie Channel stream because I said bad things about your leader. And I'm not even American. I'm truly sorry about that, Tom. All right, question number 3. The correct answer is C, as in cat. 1970s and 1980s is the decade when Gerald committed all of his murders but one. Question number 4. The Gallego primary target was what type of victim? Was it A, elderly women, B, hitchhiking women, C, store clerks, or D, teenage girls? You're banned from the Z channel. I followed for 5 years because of 2 comments. Nuts, indeed. Truly sorry about that, Tom. Open up a sock account, which is another account, and then use a VPN to mask your location. They cancel everyone nowadays they don't agree with. I haven't been canceled yet. A lot of people don't agree with me, but I'm sure it's coming. Free speech is not free anymore. The moment people started, allowing people to trample on our constitutional rights and use them for their own benefit and only, say, well, the constitutional rights go to this person, but not to this person. Constitutional protections go for this person, but not this person. The moment we allowed that to start happening anywhere in this country is the day that we start sliding into, a very precarious place, a place we don't want to be. And we've already started doing that. Because people want what they want, and they don't care how they get it. Oh, thank you, Sal. I love everybody who's here with me right now. The correct answer to question number 4 is D, as in dog. They targeted teenage girls. They wanted a particular type of teenage girl, and we will get into that as the night goes on. Question number 5. What was one of the desires and physical features every potential victim had to have to excite Gerald and Charlene? Was it A, a thin body, B, long brown hair, C, short blonde hair, or D, wore glasses? Chipmunks. Question number 5 of 20. What was one of the desires and physical features every potential victim had to have to excite Gerald and Charlene? Question number 5. 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5. Smoke them if you got them. Cancel culture. Boy George and the Culture Club were better than nowadays. Everyone's being canceled. Boy George and the Culture Club were better than nowadays. Huh. Don't quite get the reference, right, Cart? I'm sorry. I mean, I got mad respect for Culture Club and for Boy George, especially in the '80s when they came out with their music. Mad respect for them. It wasn't my cup of tea, but I mean, I'm sure there were plenty of people out there that loved it. The Karma Chameleon music. Inner peas wouldn't last a minute on that channel. Question number 5. The correct answer is A, as in apple. One of the physical features that had, each and every one of the victims had to have was a thin body. They didn't like heavier set girls, teenagers, and they wanted them to look a certain way because that's what excited them. Question number 6. What one feature was an absolute turnoff for both Gerald and Charlene? If a teenager had it, they would avoid them. Was it A, red hair, B, tattoos, C, dressed slutty, or D, rock concert t-shirts? Question number 6 of 20. What one feature was absolutely a turnoff for both Gerald and Charlene? If a teenager had it, they would avoid them. Nowadays, they just cancel anyone, even the Culture Club. I think Boy George has been on the chopping block for an awful long time. Unfortunately, Reichardt, the people are not accepting of his his lifestyle and his choices in life. So it's obviously been on the chopping block for that. Not being a cookie cutter singer. He's had mad success in the UK much longer than the Culture Club did in America. We had Madonna here in America who reinvented herself, several times over, and nobody is going, drumming, to cancel, her for her choices. I mean, I'm not saying it's right. It's just it's wrong. Definitely wrong, but yeah, but it's a good example. Everybody's getting canceled nowadays, either for politics or who they are or what they look like or something, what they said. Hell, we're killing people just for what they say nowadays. Question number 6. The correct answer is A as in apple. They avoided anyone with red hair. At not only potential victims, but Geraldine and Charlene did not trust men who had red hair at all. They believed that they were a sign of impending doom. Anyone with red hair, they avoided them. Question number 7. Which U.S. state did most of the Gallegos abductions and murders occur in? Was it A, Idaho, B, Oregon, C, California, or D, Washington? And good evening, Sprinkle Donut. Hi, everyone. No work schedule. I'm working now. Will sneak in when I can. Currently sneaking in while I work. Well, thank you, Sprinkle Donut, for stopping in and saying hello. If you need to, just jet on out so you don't get fired. Don't get in trouble. Question number 7 of 20. Which U.S. state did most of the Gallego murders and abductions take place in, occur in? We got Kathleen is going with C, Purple C, Callie Lisa C, Joe Tati for B, and Sal C. Joe Tall Chief and Sal are both going with B. Question number 7 of 20. The correct answer is C, as in cat, in the state of California. California. Or California, as Reichardt pointed out. More serial killers have come from the state of California than any other state in the U.S. Congratulations to California. That not all of them are born in the state of California. A lot of them have relocated to the state of California over the years because of the warmer climate, available jobs, and they're able to blend in with the massive populations. The next highest density of serial killers you will not understand because it debunks everything I just said. But the next highest one is Iowa. More serial killers in the state of California and Iowa than anywhere else. Why in Iowa? I don't know. It certainly ain't because of the jobs and the population or the warm climate. To be fair, we have more people. Yeah, you do. There are definitely more people in California or California. Next question. Question number 8. What was Gerald Gallego's occupation before becoming a killer, sexual sadist, and rapist? Was it A, senator from Ohio, B, a truck driver, long haul, or C, an auto mechanic, or B, a bartender? Question number 8 of 20. What was Gerald Gallego's occupation before becoming a killer, a sexual sadist, and rapist? No state bashing, please. And Rule had a theory about that. And Rule, yeah, one of many. One of many. Some of the things that I've read about why they believe more serial killers flock to California, besides the weather, jobs, the political climate, the acceptance of different types of individuals, the liberal, more I should say more liberal. Not everywhere in the state of California is more liberal, in their rulings, in political offices, but the vast majority would be. Tom Baker, being crazy. Oh, yeah, he was definitely crazy long before he started killing. In case you're wondering, Gerald Gallego, according to a family member who spoke after his arrest, of course, nobody ever speaks up before. They said that when he was younger, as a young man, not even a teenager yet, he was already torturing animals and abusing animals at a younger age. Not even a teenager yet by that age. The signs were all there. But of course, nobody ever speaks up and says anything beforehand. They only come out of the woodwork to talk about, serial killers afterwards. I went to high school with that guy. I knew that guy was crazy then. Now, they don't talk about it beforehand because why would you want to? Question number 8, the correct answer is B as in boy. He was a long haul truck driver before he started murdering, killing, and raping young teenagers. A long haul truck driver. Question number 9. Neither Gerald nor Charlene would ever admit to a complete kill count. However, how many victims are attributed to them? Is it A, 19, B, 21, C, 10, or D, 17? Question number 9 of 20. Neither Gerald or Charlene would ever admit to a complete kill count. However, how many victims are attributed to them? I started reading about this early life and almost started crying. Yeah. It's not good. Crazy kids, that's a big problem. If you see it, then react to it. If you see something, say something. But a lot of people don't. They just ignore it. They're like, that's not my problem. I don't want to get involved or whatever. Not my son. He's sane. Question number 9. The correct answer is C, as in cat. According to the FBI, there are 10 victims that are attributed to Gerald and Charlene. 10. Now, if you go onto Wikipedia or some other websites, that people talk about serial killers, you will see numbers as high as 30, 31, possible victims. Not according to the Department of Justice and the FBI. Again, from the FBI file alone, let's turn the page. They are only associated with 10 total murders. 10. Are there more victims out there? Could be. We don't know. Question number 10. Where was the best place to hunt for potential victims according to both Gerald and Charlene? Was it A, ice cream shops, B, malls, C, record stores, or D, thrift stores? Question number 10 of 20. Where was the best place to hunt for potential victims according to both Gerald and Charlene? No, you're right, Rykart. Not everyone who's killed animals, as a child turns out to be a serial killer. No, it's the constant abuse of animals for for the release and the pleasure of it. I'm not talking about people, where kids that go hunting, and they kill a rabbit or they kill a deer or anything else. No, they don't necessarily turn out to be serial killers, but those who torture animals and kill animals for the pleasure to watch them suffer. I mean, I guess Jeffrey Dahmer never technically killed, animals, maybe a cat or a dog. But besides that, most of his perverse pleasure came from roadside kills, that were hit by cars. Because him and his dad would then dissect the bones and the skeletons and preserve them. And that was just something that that Dahmer and his dad enjoyed doing together. Creepy, in my opinion. But creepy. Good evening, Kiku. Question number 10. The correct answer is B, as in boy, from malls. Of the 10 victims that Charlene and Gerald actually abducted, kidnapped, raped, murdered, tortured, and then eventually discarded like they were trash after murdering them, of the 10, 8 of the 10 were found at malls. They abducted them or lured them away from a mall. 8 out of the 10. That is the first 10 questions of tonight's trivia. I'm now going to present you at least one case tonight of someone who is missing and endangered. And I am working again with the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, the Charlie Project, FBI, NamUs, along with state and local law enforcement to shed a light on, these cases, to support the families impacted, to keep their stories alive in hopes for a resolution. Tonight, we only have one case. The case that we have tonight is one that I have highlighted multiple times. It is of April Dawn Andrews. Again, the reason why I'm highlighting it tonight is because we have new and more recent, possible sightings of April Dawn Andrews. And we will get into it as we go along. along here. If you want, you can take the next 7 minutes off and do whatever you want. Shotgun a beer, smoke a major freaking bong, load. I don't care. You do whatever you need to do for the next 7 minutes. But anyways, I'm going to preview April Dawn Andrews again, because again, we have new and developing tips that have come in to several different agencies. And that is why I'm highlighting this case tonight. Like I do every week, obviously every week I always have this missing poster with a phone number that is 479-451-8220 if you know anything about where April Dawn Andrews is. To refresh your memory, excuse me, April Dawn Andrews was 15 years old when she vanished. She would be 34 years of age today. She was last seen on 11/18 of 2006. And I know the second picture there covers this up, but she vanished from Pea Ridge, Arkansas. She is 5'4". She was approximately 100 to 115 pounds when she disappeared, with blue eyes and blondish brown hair, no medical conditions or scars. Now, this is an age and progressed photo of what she may look like today. But we have more tips that may give you even a better clue of what she may look like today, along with how did she become missing. April was last seen in Pea Ridge, Arkansas on November 18, 2006. She told her mother she was to the Pea Ridge Church of Nazareth to look at some clothing the church was giving away. She never returned and has never been heard again. The church was just down the street from April's home on King Lane Apartments. April is listed as a runaway by agencies, but investigators now classify her as a missing person. At the time of her disappearance, she had few friends and was having problems with bullies at school. She was also worried about being a financial burden to the family. There have been unconfirmed sightings in the Northeast Arkansas and Oklahoma since her disappearance. Additionally, her father died beforehand, but her mother, yes, even today, her mother is still alive in 2025. The tip line, 479-451-8220. You can call that number if you know anything about her. Additional tips to look for. Look at the photo closely. If you are anywhere near Arkansas, especially the western part of Arkansas or Oklahoma. Now, the picture you see here, an age progressed photo, imagine her with brown long hair. Not the color, but dark brown hair. Put reading glasses on her. Also, red highlights in the hair or bangs, and thin down the face a little bit. She could also always be wearing rock concert t-shirts, and she may be driving a 4-door green Buick or Dodge, a 1970s or early 80s Buick or Dodge that is green in color. Again, take a close look at this photo if you were anywhere near the Arkansas or Oklahoma area, or if you travel through there. The sightings that have come in are from the following type of locations: a convenience store, additionally, a thrift store, and a store that has an outreach program where they give counseling to people through the court system who have drug and alcohol issues. It does not mean that April Dawn Andrews is one of the people who is receiving treatment there, but they have an outreach program. She may have been there to pick someone up because they have meetings and these meetings get out. She could have been there to pick somebody up. Again, in the western part of Arkansas and in Oklahoma is where these sightings keep on coming from. since she disappeared in 2006, all of the sighting tips have come in that gathered in those two areas. She is most likely alive and well, and she left, and she just didn't want to go home because, again, she thought that she was a burden to her family. And all her family wants to know is that she is alive and she is well. That's it. They don't want to make her come home. If she doesn't want to go home, that's fine. They just want to know that she is alive and well. Without further delay, let's get back to our normal programming. But unfortunately, I clicked on that a little bit early. You still have a little bit over 2 minutes left. So let me go back to the picture to look at it. Again, that's the picture with the tip line number. If you were in the western part of Arkansas or Oklahoma near the Arkansas border, in that area of the United States, are traveling through there, law enforcement is obviously looking for her in that area. But a missing person, you have to understand, unless it's underneath foul play or suspicious circumstances, it's not exactly a top priority for law enforcement agencies when they have so much more to do. They don't have time to track down people who decide to vanish on their own. It's sad, but that's the truth. And if you were one of these families that had someone disappear in a loved one or friend or something like that, wouldn't you want people to call in a tip if they know anything about where she is, or your loved one, or your missing family member or friend? Somebody out there knows where she is, or somebody will watch this and see this and go, "Hey, she's not going by the name April, Andrews anymore. I know her as Charlene, McAllister, or whatever it may be." She might be most likely living on a completely different name, but she, if all these years since 2006 to 2025. All these years, all of the tips keep on coming back to one place only, one central location of the United States. There's nobody says that they've seen her in Las Vegas. No one said that they've seen her in Boston. That all the tips are like, this is where I saw her here. She's in that area. It's just getting the message out to her that her family want to be in contact with her. And if she was to know this, or her, you can reach out, give her the message, and all she's got to do is just call the Missing Center for Missing and Exploited Children, her local law enforcement agency, anyone, and tell them, "Hey, this is me. Come talk to me. I don't want to go back home. I don't want to see my family again." And they don't have to make you do it because obviously she's an adult now. All right. Again, take one last look at the face. April Dawn Andrews is her real name. Again, picture her with long brown hair, reading glasses, red highlights in her hair or bangs, a little bit skinnier than the age progressed photo. She could be wearing a rock, concert T-shirt for whatever band, and be driving a four-door green Buick or Dodge. Without further delay, let's get back to our trivia night. Cool. Oh, what the heck? Go back. Why? It's skipping on me again. Question number 11 is now on your screen. What was the main motive behind the Gallego kidnappings? Was it A, revenge, B, sexual slavery, C, ransom for cash, or D, thrill of murder? Probably, Reichart. I mean, we know that she was having problems with bullies and people in school. And she felt like she was a burden, another mouth for her family to feed, because they were busted, freaking broke, poor. And she felt she was a burden on the family. And now, that she left at the age of 15. She's obviously an adult now. It still doesn't mean that the people out there don't miss them. They don't want them back. Look at it from my own personal view. My brother disappeared in 1973. He went somewhere. Even if he died, the same year, he went somewhere, and somebody knows what happened to him somewhere. Either he was listed as a John Doe in a morgue, someplace in another state or location, or he changed his name or wherever, but he left and he disappeared, never to be seen again. Question number 11. The correct answer is B, as in boy, sexual slavery. Question number 12. I know it's skipping here. Hold on. There we go. Now it's back on. It keeps on skipping from the one line. Give me back put myself back in the picture here so you can actually see me as I'm trying to draw something out here on the picture. There's 2 lines of questions, and one line here, and then the next line here. It's like 10 questions and 10 questions, so they run parallel. And what it's doing is it was skipping boop boop back down and up. I'm like, God damn it! I clicked on the right one. All right, question number 12. How many of the 10 known victims did Charlene admit to having sex with and help murder? Was it A, 5, B, 9, C, 0, or D, 4? Question number 12 of 20. How many of the 10 known victims did Charlene admit to having sex with and help murder? Question number 12 of 20. Flip the page. Bob Seger song, Turn the Page. Inner P's, 144,000. Question number 12 of 20. The correct answer is C, as in cat, 0. Charlene did not admit to, during her confessions or any conversation with law enforcement, that she ever helped kill or had sex or did anything but encourage him. And we will find out why here in just a minute. Question number 13. While Gerald stayed close to home in the Sacramento area, how far would Charlene travel to find a new victim? Was it A, 10 miles, B, 5 miles, C, 25 miles, or D, 100 miles? Question number 13 of 20. While Gerald stayed close to home in the Sacramento area, how far would Charlene travel to find a new victim? Related, see, Kirikou, see, question mark? Sal, see? Oh, yeah. According to her statements, Inner Peace. According to her statement, Joe Tall Chief is going with D, up to 100 miles. Kathleen is on with C. Reichart, 144,000 miles, ladies and gentlemen. Every lady is going with C as well. Question number 13 of 20. The correct answer is A, as in apple, up to 10 miles. She would travel to other cities near Sacramento to other malls, not like indoor malls. Some of them were strip malls, outdoor malls. But she would travel up to 10 miles to find someone that was a potential victim. And then she would drive back home and grab Gerald, and then they would go back to the mall. She would watch these girls, shopping or hanging out with each other in food courts, and then go, that's the one. That's the one that we should get. And then go home and get Gerald, and then go back to the mall, where then she would lure them away from their friends, for money, a potential job of handing out flyers, to pose for photos. She had different ruses at how she got these people away. Some of them she offered marijuana to, or other drugs, but she lured them away. 10 miles. Question number 14. What was the unique about Gerald Gallego's family's background? Was it A, his father was a police officer? B, his father and grandfather were murderers? C, his grandparents were both judges? Or D, his mother and father were federal police? Question number 14 of 20. What is unique about Gerald Gallego's family background? No. At least I don't think they were. No, her Charlene was Charlene Williams, growing up. Pretty uneventful life growing up before she met Gerald. I mean, she was definitely, she abused drugs and alcohol, but I do not believe they're in any shape or form where they related beforehand before they got married. Question number 14 of 20. They were all on the Jersey Shore. Good one, Kitty Q. The answer to question number 14 is B as in boy. His father and grandfather were murderers. Now, that I should put an asterisk next to that, because his father was a convicted murderer and doing time, for murder when Gerald was young. His grandfather was a murderer, but they did not link him to actual murder until after 31 years after the murder that they link him to it by DNA. The body was exhumed and they found the DNA evidence then. But it was 31 years after the grandfather died were they able to link that the grandfather was a murderer just like his son and his grandson. But his father was doing time for murder while he was younger. Question number 15. What method did the Gallegos often use to kill their victims once they were done with them? Was it A, strangulation, B, bludgeoning, C, stabbing, or D, drug overdose? Question number 15 of 20. What method did the Gallegos often use to kill their victims once they were done with them? Ran in the family. Yeah. Effed up family. Very, very effed up. Genetic murderers. Question number 15 of 20. Joe Talchi's going with A. So with purple. Kitty Q, Kathleen are going with A. Ivory Lady is going with B. Later P's listening to Lori and Chad's podcast. They tortured them? Actually, they did torture all of their victims. The answer to question number 15 is B, as in boy. The two methods that the Gallegos used to murder their victims were either they shot them with a handgun or they bludgeoned them to death. That is how they killed all of the 10 that are known associated with them to their actual crime spree. Bludgeoning or they shot them. Question number 16. How did the Gallegos dispose of all the victims that were found? Was it A, they buried them in the desert? B, dumped them in rural fields? C, dumped them in alleyways? Or D, dispose of them in rivers or ocean? Listening to the audio of Chad's books. Now Family Smiles. Sickening. Question number 16 of 20. How did the Gallegos dispose of all the victims? Is going with A, question mark, Callie Lisa, A. Sal's going with B, question mark. Kathleen is going with B. Are they reading Chatty Boy's boring books? There are several of Chad's books that are on audio. You can get on Amazon. I think they're still on Amazon. And no, it's not Chad who does the audio readings. Can't remember the guy's name though. He's hired from the publishing company that did the audio version. They might be on Kindle too. Not on Kindle, but the Barnes and Noble's is a Nook. I think you can get it on the Nook as well. Question number 16. The correct answer is B as in boy. They dumped them in rural fields. After murdering them, they would drive out of south side of town, find a grassy place, and then shove the victim out of the car after killing them. Just dump them and drive away. Sometimes they rolled them down. They fell down and rolled down an embankment. Other times they pulled out onto a gravel road and then shoved the victim out. They didn't care. They were done with them. They were yesterday's news and yesterday's fun and pleasure to them. They had absolutely no care for how the victim was found. And all of the victims except, well, I should say not all, of the 10 victims, 6 of them were found completely nude at the time that they were discovered. One was only wearing socks. If you have to put something on a victim, that was the only thing they were wearing. And I cannot find a description of how the other 2 bodies were. And I know there's a lot of people out there that are a lot sicker and really want to go down this rabbit hole. The photos of the victims and the discovery of it is part of the actual court transcripts itself, and you can request through a FOIA request the entire transcript of the trial. They will not release a complete unredacted photos of it, but you can clearly see in the black and white images that come in the PDF file of the victims and the state of undress. Let's just say it that way. Question number 17. What eventually led the law enforcement to the Gallegos? Was it A, victim survived, B, witness description of the van, C, fingerprints, or D, Charlene's confession? Question number 17 of 20. What eventually led law enforcement to the Gallegos? Right? That was part of their ruse, inner penis. He always dressed like a businessman. Most of their neighbors in their apartment complex where they lived before they were arrested believed that he was either an insurance salesman or something along that lines. But they had a whole entire like cover story for it all. I just want to know, how did they survive financially from the time that he stopped being a truck driver to the time that, you know, they actually got caught? How did they pay for anything? Did they save their money beforehand before going on their killing, rape, and torture spree? Couldn't find an answer to that. I looked everywhere I could, trying to find someone that had a reference to it. Even reached out to a couple authors who've written books about it. They weren't exactly sure either how they were able to financially survive. The police followed the trail of dead chipmunks. Barry freaking Morphew. Dead chipmunks and little caps from tranquilizer darts. Didn't he work as a bartender? Not that I'm aware of, Sal. He worked as a long haul truck driver up until the point where they decided to start killing and abducting and raping and torturing teenage women. But I don't know what did they do for money after that. And everything I found online, no one had a really good definite answer for it. They had to get the money somewhere. I mean, I know he committed one robbery, and he did that without Charlene. But all right, let's get on back to the answer to question number 17. The answer to question number 17: how did the law enforcement eventually end up coming after the Gallegos? The correct answer is D as in dog. Charlene confessed. Yes, Charlene confessed. Question number 18. How did Charlene avoid the death penalty for all the murders, rapes, and kidnappings and other crimes? Was it A, mental health claim, B, lack of evidence, C, plea bargain and testimony, or D, jury was a bunch of morons? Question number 18 of 20. How did Charlene avoid the death penalty for all the murders, rapes, and kidnappings and other crimes? Kamala. Oh, like Carla Oh my God. Talk about some twisted son of a bitches, man. Sorry for my language, but to offer up your own sister to be raped, murdered, and tortured, not particularly in that order. It was more rape, torture, and then murder. Yeah, Carla offering up her own sister. That's your own flesh, your own family. She offered her up to her husband to torture, rape, and then eventually murder. I couldn't imagine that. I mean, it's one thing doing it to a complete stranger, but and knowing that what's happening to people you don't have an emotional connection to, but then offering up your own sibling. Carla did it. You're being sarcastic. Oh, got that. Question number 18. The correct answer is C, as in cat. As part of the actual confession and plea bargain that Charlene took, she had to write out a complete statement of all of the crimes that they committed, her involvement in the crimes, along with what he did, what Gerald had done, and all the crimes, for all the victims, how many there were, about each and every one of them, what her part was, what he did, where they got them from. She had to write it all out. And then she actually testified against him in court on the actual case itself. But she had an agreement in place in order to turn state's evidence that they would not seek the death penalty against her. Since the actual statement was written out and she testified in court against Gerald, they found no less than 31 different errors in the entire statement. Things that she omitted on purpose that put more blame on her than anything else. Like she forgot to mention that, incidentally, that she had traveled up to 10 miles, from the home to find girls at the mall and then go get him and then bring him back to the mall so they could abduct another teenager. She conveniently left that out of her actual confession. She also left out of her confession that she would sit in the front seat and turn around and watch him and then egg him on, encouraging him to do other things to these victims and to, this one, beat her, bludgeon her, just beat her over and over again. She encouraged him. She kind of forgot to put that in her statement. And with that said, question number 19. What sentence was handed down that had been upheld at every state and federal level for Gerald Gallego? Was it A, probation and a $100,000 fine? B, work release? C, the death sentence? Or D, life without parole plus 219 years? Question number 19 of 20. What sentence was handed down that has been upheld at every state and federal level for Gerald Gallego? Yeah, she said she didn't kill anybody. All she did was lure them to him. She would go into the mall underneath a false pretense, get them to come out to the car, and then he would jump out and tie them up, subdue them, and then she'd get in the driver's seat and drive it away. But she didn't kill anybody. She took part in 90% of the crime. It's just that last 10% she said she didn't do. We have since seen people get, much larger sentences, but she had that plea deal. Now, you might be wondering, could have law enforcement at this time convicted Gerald, of the murders of the 10 without her help, it would have been an uphill battle because remember, this is the 1970s and 1980s before DNA evidence. So they would that have upheld, down the road. But question number 19, the correct answer is C as in cat. He was given the death sentence. It was upheld at the state and federal level. With that said, here's the next bombshell. Wait, what? How many times was Gerald Gallego sentenced to death for his crimes? Was it A, 1, B, 3, C, 4, or D, 2? How can it be that it was upheld on appeal at the state and federal level and there's more than one or one? What does that mean, that there was more than one trial? Dun, 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 dun. I'm related. Good evening to Gemma as well. I'm related. I had a fantastic birthday. Well, again, happy birthday, Gemma. Gemma turned 37 years old yesterday. Ladies and gentlemen, please take a moment and wish Gemma a happy birthday again. Wait, what? How many times was Gerald Gallego sentenced to death for his crimes? Well, thank you, Gemma. We love you too, sweetheart. Glad you had a happy birthday. Question 20 of 20. The correct answer is D as in dog. 2 times. The first case was remanded back to the court and they tried him again. And the new jury came up with the same outcome as before. Death penalty. Death penalty. Unanimous verdicts each time, death penalty. He went up for appeal again, and it was upheld. And just like the first time, he again, death penalty. Death penalty. He is going to die in prison if he's still alive. And I didn't check before I logged on tonight. How did you do on tonight's trivia? This is completely optional to give yourself a letter grade. And thank you, Gemma. There's love for you, Will. Never give up on your work and your channel. You have educated me. I'm glad I was able to help you, sweetheart. It's completely optional to give yourself a letter grade on tonight's trivia. And any night. We do this just for fun and for entertainment purposes only. I would have known, and I would have gotten 5. I would have gotten myself a big fat D on tonight's trivia subject matter because I didn't know squat about this man or his wife Charlene or their crimes or anything before putting this all together. I don't feel bad, Sal. You did terrible. I only knew 5. And those were just basic ones that that I did know about, that they were it was sex slaves and they were trying to make the perfect sex zombie, not zombie like they wanted someone as a sex slave that would be able to be used again and again and again and again and again. They didn't want to have to keep on killing, but eventually the victim they beat the victim so much, and they did so much to each and every one of these young girls. I'm sorry for having to describe this, but eventually it got to the point where the victim just gave up. They didn't want to live anymore. They didn't want to endure another round of abuse or whatever they wanted to do to the victim to them. So they killed them. I mean, they most likely would have, at least that's what Charlene had to say. All right. So we only have one side of the story. He fought the entire thing. So she's alive and living in Sacramento. Again, if you have questions or you believe that there was a mistake on tonight's trivia, please reach out to me. I strive to have the most accurate trivia night online. However, mistakes do happen. I am only human. And yes, even in this day and age of like doing research, AI is creeping into everything. And I found major issues and updates on Wikipedia, information that the government has on individuals. Yeah, it's creeping. AI is creeping even into the databases for individuals that where we should only be able to get the facts and information about an individual and not what AI hallucinates and believes is the truth. So mistakes do happen. If you found a mistake, like Tom Baker found a mistake last week, and again, thank you very much, Tom. Reach out to me at the email address that is listed there in blue, 411nowbusiness@gmail.com. That's all one word. There's no spaces in there anywhere, no underscores, nothing. It is a live clickable link. Did you know 100% of all the Trivia Night subject matter comes from viewer suggestions, from viewers just like you? If you have a trivia subject that you would like me to cover on Trivia Night, I need suggestions. I am all out of suggestions that were given before. Yeah, a couple of you have reached out and given me a couple of great ideas for a Halloween trivia night. Thank you. I definitely have read your emails and your suggestions, and I have duly noted them. But we are all out of all the suggestions that Cement Shoes has given. I don't know what happened with Cement Shoes, but Cement Shoes has disappeared. Cement Shoes is no longer listed as a subscriber. They are no longer a channel member, and they have pretty much gone in thin air. I don't know what's really going on there. Maybe it's just been that point in life where Cement Shoes decided that they just didn't enjoy the content that I was providing. That's understandable, and I'm okay with that. But again, I'm out of. I had an entire black book of nothing but suggestions for Cement Shoes. If you have one, let me know. You can email it to the 411 Now Business. You can put it here in the comment section. If you're watching this after the stream, you can leave it as a comment down below. I would appreciate it from everyone or anyone that wants to give me one. The AI invasion is only beginning. It absolutely is only beginning. Have you guys seen any of the Soro, Soro, videos yet? You can only get Soro on an Apple product. You can't get it on Android. It's only for people who have iPhones. And the videos and the audio that it can make, it looks so realistic. It could be of this right here and me sitting here in this environment and everything, and it would sound just like me, and my lips would be moving to the words. It's 100% real. We went from here to way over here in technology in the last year alone. That's how fast and rapid AI is growing. Where AI voices, you could tell, over here, it's like, that's an AI voice. Now, this new stuff with Soro, You can put a picture of anyone in there, and all you do is you type in a description of what you want them to say, what you want them to do, who you want in the video with them, and you can make anything. You can make any. I've seen some good ones where it's Abraham Lincoln and George Washington talking to each other, and it looks like it's really them. It sounds like what you would think that they would sound like, but likewise, at the same time, they're making deep dive videos to tear apart other creators and their niche. I've already seen the videos. They haven't come after me yet, but they have after other people who are in the true crime, channel genre here on YouTube. There are ones that I don't know if they're still up, but they came after Scott Sharp, and I don't know if Scott saw them or not, but they look just like him, he and everything right down to a hello Schmida family. All of that was in the video, and it sounded and it looked just like Scott Sharp, except for Scott was pitching a cryptocurrency. And if you know who Scott is and or anything about him, he would not be pitching cryptocurrency or anything like that at all. But the video looks 100% like it was Scott. And it's sad because if they can come after him, what's the start tomorrow? They might as well just take down the next channel. Take on that channel. Well, you know what? I don't like them. They're competing against me. I'll just tear them apart and make people believe they're complete fake, or they're not real, or they're lying to you, or they just want to scam you. So and in court, you're on camera. If it's you, you are guilty, and it's the reality AI. I'm gonna write Terry Petter down. Rasmus Musen, possible serial killer. I'll look into that, Kitty Q. I mean, I do. I need suggestions bad. Normally, I have three or four different videos, like trivia nights that I'm working on at the same time. I have 0 right now. This entire trivia night tonight took exactly 6 days to make. I had 6 days to research, 6 days to put it all together, all of it. And I'm like normally I was working on 3 or 4 at the same time, but I can't do it if I don't have any subject matter to actually put the questions together for. That sucks. I just kept on burning through them, hoping that Cement Shoes or somebody else would show up with another good suggestion. The Sulfic Strangler, yes, that's where you've suggested that before, but I will put it down again on the list. Thank you very much. Stephen Wright, yeah, or Steve Wright. Stephen or Steve Wright. He's from your hometown. Ooh, that's a little too close for home. Artificial intelligence is never a good thing. Artificial food, turf, plants are never a good thing. That's true, Reichardt. Yeah, Reichardt, you're probably the first person that I can remember that told me, and rallied against the fact that you didn't like AI and what AI is doing to the trucking industry. It is getting so much worse and so quick. If you have a favorite creator out there, and obviously it's not me, but just say you have another creator that is your favorite creator of any type of content at all, they have to be worried, or they have to have their head buried in a hole in the sand right now to not see exactly where AI is going and just how much YouTube is embracing it, and how quickly they're embracing it. I mean, Google and their AI, and Google and YouTube, same people, basically. I mean, yeah, they're two different entities, but they're alphabet company. But to watch them and just how fast that they're embracing it and how much they're allowing it to be on YouTube. When I upload a video, there is a box that I have to check if I have an AI. The video I'm uploading is an AI video, and it is making someone say something or do something in that AI video that is not normally something that they would say or do, or if I've altered it in some way using AI. That is a self-reporting thing only. Now with the Soro, videos I'm talking about, that's only available on i products right now, iPhones particularly. I think it's available on desktop too for Apple users. But I mean, it took me less than a minute looking at the video, and I could tell you how to remove the Soro logo right off of the video. That they're not trying to really hide the fact that it can be altered, 100%. So it doesn't even have the Soro logo on it. I don't know if the app itself gives you an option to take that off. It probably does, but from the outside looking in, I was like, oh, that's just a watermark filter. Yeah, I mean, I've got an editing program that'll take an AI filter off. It's not that hard. It's one click on my editing program. Yeah, Von Keller, the pillow killer. Never heard of the pillow killer. But thank you, Kitaku. Where do we go from here, and how far is it going to go? I mean, when it comes to AI, think about it. What's to stop the AI revolution from coming? They already know eventually AI is going to do away with all of the lower tier jobs, jobs that in corporate companies that where it's just data entry, accounts payable, everything else. You can move 100% accounts payable and receivable into a computer system. You don't need data entry in people anymore. You don't need people in convenience stores. Amazon's already proved, with their Amazon convenience stores, you don't even have to have a person in the damn store. Just go in, pick up whatever you want, and automatically, bing, it charges you before you leave the store. Because it knows when you pick it up, because it's watching and listening to everything you do. That's AI powered, and the quantum computing companies out there are looking in, and they're moving towards quantum computing and quantum AI. It's right here now, and they want to move it to here by the end of the year. That much more. Tomorrow afternoon, maybe the only thing or maybe a year, maybe 5 years from now, the only thing you're going to get on YouTube is just AI generated, slop, as they call it. I mean, that's what they actually call it now, is AI slop. And it's not just short videos. You can make long form videos. You can make podcasts where it looks like there's multiple people in the room that are all talking about a subject matter, and 100% of it is made by a computer. Those people don't even exist. You can use existing people, or people that that look like they're Abraham Lincoln sitting around with Joe Rogan, and Jeffrey Dahmer around a table. You can make AI make that video for you if you want right now today, and it would sound like Jeffrey Dahmer, Abraham Lincoln, and Joe Rogan. That's scary. And there's nothing to stop them, because YouTube, Facebook, X, they're all in that race to have the most powerful AI and to produce and do everything that they can. Change to Flemish, speaks Flemish. You think AI is canceling us and banning us from taking away our First Amendment rights, along with the government? Banned in the USSA. That's good, right, Cart? Banned in the USSA. In France, a killer was discovered with DNA. He was that was huge, created police chief. Wow. Elvis show went to was beyond incredible. That's great, Gemma. I'm glad you had fun. You got to hold Elvis Presley's actual 1968 comeback guitar. Wow. The Cleveland torso murders. I have done the Cleveland torso murders, Kiddiku. It was probably about 3 years ago, but I'll definitely look into seeing if there's enough there, to do again, or maybe there's an update, something I could cover that where it's different questions or a different angle. But thank you for the suggestion. Gotta go. Y'all have a great week. You as well, Sal, and thank you for being here. On the way out, don't forget to give this a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. And I'm sorry for everybody for being such a humdrum about AI. Maybe AI is going to save us all from ourselves and free up so much of our time that we have nothing to do with our lives because we don't have jobs, hobbies, sports to watch, nothing. I mean, maybe AI is going to make it all better for us before the cyborgs come and take us all out. Because know damn well that as soon as they get the AI overlord, they know that they're going to want to have the control. Killed his 6 family members and started a new life somewhere. Wow. You do that, sweetheart. Gemma, you email me. I remember. You doubt it? The Connecticut River Killer. Mr. Wanted Man. Xavier. Why have I heard that name before, Tom? Maybe it's because, the popular subject matter. These two monsters on tonight's trivia made Bonnie and Clyde look like they seem like angels compared to them. Great trivia, Will. Thank you, Reichart. John List. I've done John List before. I can do that again for sure, Mr. Baker. There's a lot there with John List. Yeah, interesting little trivia, thing about well, not trivia. Interesting little thing about John List. When you walked into the home, there was an arboretum that was where you put plants that had a ceiling of glass that was actually made by Tiffany and Company. It's one of the only skylight ceiling things that they ever made in the Tiffany and Company's lifetime. Was in the John List home. His mother actually paid for it to be installed in that home. But I always wondered what happened to it because I know the house. I'm almost 100% sure the John List home is not there anymore. But what happened to the Tiffany? I don't know what you'd call it, skylight, ceiling, window. I don't know what the hell you'd call it. but I don't think it's there anymore if the house is there. Because I mean, it's probably changed hands a couple of dozen times since then. Freaky, place. I mean, someplace where somebody annihilated their entire family. Phantom of Hellbrawn. Braun. Thank you again, Kitty Coo, for the suggestion. Xavier murdered his family over 3-day period. Everyone? Wow. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to wrap up tonight's trivia. I want to thank each and every one of you for being here again. Gemma, thank you very much for the super chat. I truly appreciate that. And thank you to everyone again for just being here. Kitty Coo for all the trivia night suggestions, and for everybody else, if you're watching us afterwards, leave a trivia night subject matter, topic that you'd like to see covered if you're watching us afterwards. And in the meantime, everyone, you have a great week ahead, and please stay safe out there. The last thing I need is for one of you to murder your entire family, so I have to cover that, or become a victim of someone else in your family murdering you all. Stay safe out there. And as Purple likes to point out, Purple, if you're still listening, you never know who's going to be standing next to you next. And nor do you know who's going to be knocking at your door. With that in mind, bye.